It is a busy week here in Texoma between the Hotter Hill 100 on Saturday and the kickoff to high school football on Friday.
With record heat expected all week, how are athletes staying cool during practice and on game days? Dylan Jimenez looked into it for us today. So Dylan, what kind of tips are doctors and trainers offering?
Dr. Keith Williamson says to be sure to listen to your body. He says in 20 years working Hotter Hill, he's never seen heat stroke, but has seen water intoxication. And high school trainers are keeping tabs on players and offering water constantly to keep players hydrated. It's hotter than hell on the gridiron and soon down Scott Street.
When the temperature hits somewhere between 90 and 100, your body stops being able to compensate. And the timer starts ticking. If you're just a little bit over that compensable heat barrier, you can go a fairly long time. But if it's really hot, your time is really limited for the amount of exercise you can do in the heat.
Wichita Falls has hit 110 degrees 11 times this year, tying a record set in 1980 for the second most 110 days in a year. It also means athletes are on the gridiron for Friday night lights.
We're working through a plan, hopefully, to be able to practice a little later in the evenings this week as well, since it's going to be so hot.
Rider head athletic trainer Robert Doley says multiple water stations are at practice and trainers carrying 6 water bottles. UIL recommends no practice if the wet bulb temperature is above 92.1 degrees.
It's tremendous help. Our kids don't get put in that situation where, you know, it's dangerous to be outside.
Triple H is around the corner, and while most races are in the morning, Dr. Williamson says fatigue can play a big part.
Their cardiac output decreases and their body heat increases, and it limits their time on the bike. It produces a fatigue factor. It's like if it were cool and comfortable weather, but you had to carry 3 cinder blocks on your back. That's what it's like to try and do this sort of exercise in the heat.
And typically high school football games start at 7 or 7:30, but with heat expected to be triple digits around those times, some games have been pushed back to 8, just like the Rider and Old High game.
Wow, it'll still be plenty hot at 8, but
it
Michael
sure
will talk more about that in just a few minutes. Dylan, thank you so much.
Speaking of